Steven Universe. What a show. What other cartoon can you say has over 100 episodes, its own TV movie, and an epilogue series? And since it has concluded, we get to stand back and admire its entire body of work. So I decided to rank it all. Now, I'm only ranking the real episodes and the movie. I will not be ranking the time thing or any of the shorts, just to keep this list a bit more concise. There are 175 pieces of media I'll be ranking after all. Somewhat of a warning, I will be revealing small-ish spoilers for those who are on the fence about watching the show. Like, fusion exists. Peridot and Lapis end up at a barn. These would be hard things to work around, so don't worry, I won't be giving away anything big. These rankings are just my opinions. I base the ranking on three main things: my views on the episode, the rewatchability of it, because the best things should be able to be experienced multiple times with enjoyment, and if the episode overall is objectively good. That is done to hopefully balance my bias a bit. Also, just a reminder, this is a good series. Even episodes I rank well into the triple digits, I still genuinely enjoy. Now, I'm not an animation expert by any means, I didn't sit through any hiatuses, and I'm not the best at picking up on the more subtle details. Like, apparently, I was told the watermelons in Escapism represent nonviolent and violent ways of doing things. I'll admit, I just saw watermelon people living their fruitful lives. But enough with all that, this is gonna be long enough as it is. I'll be starting with the worst, that way we end on a good note. So, let the rankings begin. A great minor character is made absolutely terrible, and their actions hurt the progression of the protagonist and annoy everyone. It's not funny, it's not unique, it's just bad, and it gets even worse with rewatching. I have many questions. Why is the lip syncing weird? Why did Steven not just say out loud that the moss was dangerous? Why did they not drive just a little bit closer to the top of the hill? Why is Lars such an awful character for a majority of the show? Welcome to the cult of children who routinely flash adults. They really saved on the voice acting budget in this one. The first time I saw the main fusion of this episode, it was brief, and I thought it was an inside joke, and there was no way that was their personality. I am sad to say it was. It was the fusion that I was most looking forward to see, too. And with that title of the episode, its existence seems to mock me. The only interesting part is the attempted murder. I know this is generally considered to be the worst, but some lines here are good.
Whoa! You truthed him so hard he died.
However, Steven having his kindness used against him sinks this one. Some small highlights keep this from being ranked any lower. Oh man, Steven's a robot who tries to help a comedy duo get back together? This should be fun!
Zoltron sees sadness in your future.
I hereby nominate Mayor Dewey as the most consistently sweaty character on the show. Lars said it best.
It's like the sequel no one asked for.
There are a lot of problems with this episode. At least the song is good. Ronaldo knocks Steven out with a potato, and I'm supposed to have faith in him on missions? The amount of nightmare fuel was unexpected. Petey was so underused. In theory, this could have been great. In reality, no. A character introduction this late in the series? I thought we were done with these. What a black sheep. Your amount of enjoyment is equal to how willing you are to just go with it.
Don't worry, bro. None of this is canon.
For an episode called Serious Steven, it seems like he was made more childish just for this one. I don't mind slower-paced things, but this reeks of early Season 1. There really is no reason to go back to it. Hey, we get to see them work together and— boo, predictable bickering and fighting. Garnet at least saves this one. There are like 3 different lessons trying to be told here, and all of them are muffed. As an avid coin collector,
Silver dollar? Useless!
This hurts me greatly. It has a shotgun and a birthing video, yet it's boring. It's pretty forgettable, nothing new is added, and everything is just okay. I hope you like the different art style, because that's all there is. If you called it or know what is going to happen, it takes a lot away from this episode. Rewatch value is not its friend. Is it just me, or do the character models really seem off? That raft bit always gets me, though. Amethyst has probably caused several trips to the hospital, and I cannot set that aside. Wait, did they have teenage Steven play Whacker-Man?
But a boy on the cusp of manhood can't spend the whole day whackering.
Okay, they knew. Character we were told was awful is still awful. Shocker. Is this episode learning to drive a manual for the first time? 'Cause all it keeps doing is stalling. Not even Connie and Steven's chemistry can save a Jamie episode. Pearl at an improv is fun to see, but did we need this one? How long would it need to disappear before somebody noticed it was gone? Always remember, if cats are giving you problems, drown them. Nanafwa shines in her first appearance. The temporary gem outfits aren't bad either. I guess if you're really into theater production, maybe you'll like it. Could they not have given Jamie one good episode? It's almost like when you give Lars a different personality, he's a better character. Why am I supposed to like him? Nothing is accomplished, no loose ends are tied up, and I feel sorry for Greg. Watching Steven's road trip enthusiasm be slowly killed is not fun to watch. All of these characters are good on their own. Mixed together, not so much. Connie is fine though, and I feel sorry for her too. If they wanted to go full-on Initial D, it really could have used a song. Some concepts just work better than others. I classify very few things as truly filler. This comes awfully close. How long will it take to get all those thorns out of that house? Those things are worse than glitter. Kevin is such a D-bag, it's funny. It has some good moments and nice touches, like with the pronouns in Steven's shirt. I know Amethyst has things on her mind, but even for her, she's really mean-spirited for a good chunk of the episode. That conversation with Mayor Dewey is kinda deep, and other lines can feel eerily relevant.
I know it'll hurt your businesses. I know it'll hurt your lives.
If 4 people can cook better than your restaurants, and 2 of them don't really eat, something is wrong. Props to Ronaldo for easily providing the best moments. Maybe Steven has a bit too much faith in wild animals he just met.
Quick, put my head in your mouth!
I don't quite understand how that gem works, but it leads to some backstory that is unfortunately never elaborated on. Whoa, these edible arrangements are getting out of hand. The more I think about it, the more I realize identity theft is most likely really common in the gem world. Why are you like this, Lars? You're somewhat interesting now. I thought we turned a corner. My heart goes out to the fans who watched this when it first aired. The setup makes it seem like something huge is going to happen when not much does. Maybe I would forgive it more if the setup didn't make the whole thing feel like a letdown. The pilot gets a little pass as they were still figuring out characters. There's foreshadowing, and it has a funny first half. Did Amethyst really ride that cloud for 2 weeks? A poster gag unintentionally describes Steven Universe future pretty well. Pizza Jenny will see you when you sleep. Each event is almost a jump cut. I think they were going for randomness, and I might forgive it if the situations were more interesting, but it feels too disjointed and kinda out of character. What would have happened if Amethyst hadn't been poofed during her Pearl imitation? That form seemed sustainable. I wanted to hear their story. Missed opportunity, future. It's a bit alarming to see how mean the gems were to Greg at the beginning. It makes sense, but still. Nice interest for Sadie to get, but there is still people in space. Taking care of that might help you out, Sadie. I never thought I'd see the day when one of the helmets from Daft Punk started hunting the youth. Right activity, wrong time is very real and rarely brought up. It's a good transition scenario for Sadie and Lars. Kind of a shame the development came this late. I wish there was a pink tint on Steven's photo. He did take it inside the bubble. This is probably unpopular, as I think the main catchphrase is overused. The red shading does look cool, but a thing that bugs me is why did they not fuse? It has to be more effective than repeatedly chucking amethyst. Maybe someone with a certain bow? Maybe? It has heart, but is ultimately a waste of time. I wasn't the biggest fan of Amethyst, and this episode gave me reasons not to be. What an odd mix of tones. It'll go from a sense of desperation and potential loss to, lol, funny pictures. Once again, another odd mix, as this one contains a bit of maturity and PBS Kids-esque lessons. That title was used and no Citizen Kane reference? I don't know whether that was a missed opportunity or a sign of restraint. Holly Blue Agate's sound mix on her shoes is turned up pretty high, and that's all I can ever focus on. Okay, I've yet to share my appreciation for how Buck is a total coin flip. Half of the time he says something, it can make the episode, and there are more hits than misses in this one. It's nice to see that he put Greg's lessons to use, too. Those who say they do not like Steven in future likely point here. How accepting you are of Steven's change will affect the likability of this one. I know a simple story was needed as a follow-up to what just happened, but this one seemed a bit too simple. Ah, a time travel episode. It's best not to think too hard about it. Also, why did the shrine take longer to flood the second time? Wait, am I breaking my own rule? You know how Sadie's voice actor is like a professional singer? Let's make sure she doesn't do that for 3 seasons. I think somebody was playing a few too many Battle Royale games when this was thought of. I really wanted to make a joke about how it has highs and lows like a roller coaster, but it's not that extreme. The volatility more resembles a used seat cushion. This has such a wildly cool concept that is not lived up to. If there was one episode I wish was better, it's this one. Seeing the Steven Universe version of Korea is cool, however, it is slower paced. I get what they were going for. I respect what they were going for. It's fine. The best part is the credits. It's a shame we never got to see more of her. It was only a matter of time until the onion gag was done. It's sweet, but bad southern drawls. Horse lips. And I don't want to use the word worst, so one of the least good main songs. I get sitcom vibes, and almost expect a laugh track after some of these lines. That phone conversation with Garnet is worth the watch alone. I wish that brand of chips actually existed. Look at how many they put into a bag. I forget there's a song in this one, and that's a shame. I wish it was longer, but it's better than the alternative. Pearl's commitment to baseball's past is a nice touch. If Lapis would have thrown just one pitch like this, the ranking would be 10 spots higher. Warning, the crystal gems fire guns at point-blank range on organic life. Making and designing an outfit? A song that comes out of nowhere? Having a ball? Did Disney intercept this one? Like bread at a restaurant. There are better things to enjoy, but it's still liked. Sorry to those with celiac. For the first time in the series, Rose is a background character, and it feels weird. I forgot about the song, so that was an enjoyable reminder. Showing how the different things intertwine is neat. A joke thrown in would have been appreciated. Even in the most serious moments, 1 or 2 can usually be found. Not here, though. Steven needs help, and I can't not see it, like he's called customer service and keeps getting referred to different departments. It's nice. Nothing too meaningful, nothing grand, just nice. I like how Steven just takes charge in this one, and those unfamiliar books completely sound like something that would be made. We just learned the fate of the world might be at stake. Nah, we got time for robots. We were warned. All the signs were there, but we didn't listen! I actually like the slower parts better. I think the trust is earned a little too early, but that first half is pleasant. Amethyst is a great supporting role. She provides some much appreciated breaks from the main conflict, while still contributing to the team and mission. It has more good elements than bad ones, but the experience is a mixed bag. Both the best and worst of these characters are brought out. It has a pleasant little song and some humor. There's just a little too much Steven questioning and bickering for my taste, though. Remember, kids, Steven doesn't use drugs, so be like Steven and just get high without them. How do you animate something that looks like you don't have 3D glasses on while you're watching a 3D movie while it not being in 3D? Talk about quality variation. Around 90 seconds are amazing, and around 90 are downright awful. Between Steven helping his friends and that scene at the end, this is one of the least comfortable episodes to sit through. Like, there are some jokes, but I don't feel like I should laugh at them. Just a nice episode with a good character introduction, and it has the best Onion interaction. There had to be at least one ZZ Top fan in that writer's room. This is also a good time to bring up how the font being off in Patti LuPone's name always bugs me. Some of the sequences just ooze creativity, but using their essence from a bottle in a bathtub gives me too many gamer girl bathwater vibes than I'd like to have. Greg gets it worse and worse each time something happens. Everyone gets at least one good line, and there are 2 nice short songs. Holy crap, Connie is precious. Do people like that even exist? After spending nearly the entire season chasing Peridot, they finally caught her. Well, time to let her out. It's slower, solid, and needed. Not much more to say. These creatures are adorable, and I think the animators thought so too, because they receive about as much screen time as Steven. This should have been one longer episode, because it does all the setup while not getting to experience the payoff. I have seen pizza eaten a lot of ways, but with a spoon? Cursed. Well, that was a shift in tone. What the heck? It looked like it was just gonna be a happy little story, but it pulls a 180. It has some subtle nods to future episodes, and shows some progress for Steven, which is hard to find in the earlier parts of the first season. Having descriptions of dreams be the reason people fall asleep is perfect. How do therapists do it? Ignoring the survivability of space, it is spectacular how very little happens, yet it keeps my attention the entire way. Rick Astley jokes aside, this has one of the most mature messages I have seen in any piece of media. I don't know what it is with this one. It has all the elements of being a great episode, but it feels like it's missing something. Welcome to Steven Universe, where nap-removing threats can get you to the moon. The sound design, music cues, and still imagery really sell this one. I don't think any other episode matches this tone, and it holds the distinction of freaking me out the most. Hey looking but not being comfortable is finally acknowledged. The different animation style is nice to see, and Padparasha for the first and only time did something useful. Allergies help advance the greater story. That is not something I thought I'd ever say. The sequence with the emerging, glitchy fusion kicks it up a few spots on its own. If there was ever a social media account for Steven Universe out of context, half of the content would be from here. If possible, watch this one on a TV. It makes this scene look a lot better. The montage is one of the few moments in the entire series that the music feels a bit off. The second half is great, though. I just really like how this story is framed, and it does a nice job of balancing its tones. Sometimes atmosphere and location need to be taken into consideration. Man, that lighting, color, and setting is cool. Connie gets to show some growth as well. It's solid and never feels slow despite the subject matter.
Human screams are my favorite.
Oh no, 2 main characters fight. It's probably gonna be about some petty thing that came out of nowhere and makes one unlikable. Wait, it's not? And they still legit fight? With compliments? Sweet! Once again, another setup without the benefit of a payoff. It's episodes like these that make me very happy streaming exists. I completely forgot this hologram Earth thing was hinted at previously. Lapis finally gets her own song, and it was worth the wait. Aw, you want to be Jailbreak so bad. The group's trying to leave some sort of gem containment center. You even threw a song in there too. I guess if you're going to copy, you could do worse. After spending the last episode pretty much tearing down all of Peridot's progress, this was really the only way to redeem her. The song goes on for too long, but other than that, it's still good, with some rewatch value on top of it. Okay, so I know how they create more watermelon people, but how do they get, like, dogs and chickens? Has the Watermelon Society started to take an interest in gene splicing and genetics? Because if so, dang. The pacing is so slow, but that ending is so sweet. I didn't realize they had no water. You'd think that'd be pointed out to give a sense of urgency. Lars doesn't suck anymore too! Hooray! I'll be the first to admit it, this does not hit me as hard as I think it's trying to. Maybe it's because I have a hard time seeing the creature as Steven, and I hate that sequence of everyone going, "It was my fault." In all honesty, this is one of my least favorites to watch. However, I can respect what it does well. Steven gets a little closure, which is good to see. It can be considered a fluff episode after the previous adventure by definition, but it doesn't feel like one. One thing I really admire about the show is it knows when to be quiet most of the time. And that sequence of Steven making dinner sets everything up with minimal dialogue. A ton of things happen, new information is revealed, and it ends with a setup. I appreciate it being far from a waste of time. Breathing room was a bit lacking to allow the audience to fully soak in what just happened. Good action, good humor, and the first great song of the series. Yep, this one's solid. I'm kinda surprised this didn't become more of a meme. I have never wanted to punch a character on this show so hard with such frequency. I understand the can showing up on the radiograph, but a sandwich? Does that mean the sandwich was made of metal? I wouldn't put it past Amethyst, just making sure. This one's just cool. Cool setting, cool creatures, cool mixed perspective dream thing. If this episode was chosen at random, you could do a lot worse. I don't understand how it goes from 1 drill to 3, but I digress. If possible, please watch this one with headphones. It allows you to appreciate the audio mixing and leads to an overall better viewing experience. It's a little weird it was done like this, considering it originally aired on TV and experienced by fans with what I'm assuming was not premium surround sound. It feels like it's more special than it actually is. A lot of aspects are good, just nothing amazing. For me, this is the litmus test in determining if an episode is just good or great. How dark can this show actually get? Oh, okay. Lapis and Steven's interactions are just so genuine and natural. It's fun to see Lapis happy. Jersey's reputation is also so powerful it doesn't even get renamed on the show. It doesn't carry as much weight a second time around, but it still has some. I love the minimal design of the courtroom that gives the new world a unique look and allows the characters to shine. Even so, I do wish the holding room was more designed than just with gradient rectangles. Ready to see the dynamics of the crystal gems with a more mature Steven? Too bad he's neutered for about 80% of the film, and the rest of the main cast, including the villain, is throttled for half. Spinel ranges from a great, understandable threat to annoying for anyone over the age of 6. It's full of music, and some of the songs feel great and are given enough time to breathe. Others I wish were a bit longer, and then there are the ones I wish made room. I'm ripping on it kinda hard, however it did get better on rewatch for me, noticing how the gems got their pieces and smaller details like how Peridot's Robotoids now have shades like she does. I'm a sucker for finales. You don't always get to say goodbye. If you personally have it higher, I wouldn't blame you. If you have it lower, I wouldn't blame you either. Now this is how a slower story can be done! Pretty much every scene is funny, all with touches of sincerity. That ending should not hit as hard as it does. This might be a more controversial ranking, so hear me out. You wanna hate Andy, however you understand where he's coming from. It also makes sense for him to be there when he is. Livelihoods are at stake for the gems, except in this case, they cannot be saved by fighting, which creates a great environment for camaraderie. What absolutely shines is the dialogue, though. Some of these lines I imagine hit a bit too close to home for some.
They're illegal aliens? What? You couldn't even marry an American?
What does that matter?
It's not noticeably funny. I think they could have gone a bit darker in some areas, and don't even get me started on being able to talk over a propeller. But it's just incredible. In fact, the first time I watched this, I finished it and thought it was an 11-minute episode. It is entertainment after all, so that should count for something, right? This is one of the first times Steven feels needed on a mission. It has high stakes without feeling doom and gloom, and even the minor characters, who I'm not the biggest fan of, can have some good moments.
No one wants to take a vacation to Desert City!
Tell that to Vegas. The first longer episode sets the bar high. I love the soundtrack, and I don't know how the writing keeps her redeemable after what she does. It seems like doing something like that would make me hate her, but somehow I don't. If Pad Parasha never existed, I think the 5th season would be better for it. I wish there was more stuff like this in future. An interesting plot thread that was brought up at the very end but never explained. Okay. Pearl can be a little mean, however, that speech at the end is beautiful, and that escape sequence is crisp. Easily the high watermark of the 4th season. It's wonderfully written with a deep message. This is Garnet at her absolute best. The animation stands out in this one as well. I'm probably going to be burned at stake for saying this, but I think Here Comes the Thought goes on for too long? Don't get me wrong. It's great, but it's nearly a third of the episode. Maybe I wouldn't notice this as much if it was a longer episode, which it totally could have done. Each character's perspective drives the episode. They all play off each other really well. It can be serious, funny, and there are 2 sweet songs. No pun intended. There is some great action, uneasy imagery, and some of the best animation found here. That white and gray color combo too. Ooh, I wish I could show more of it without giving too much away. Some of the characters do feel sidelined, certain aspects feel rushed, and I wish the villain was tweaked a little bit, but that is not a bad way to end the main series. The use of that light red tint is gorgeous. Can we read the official episode description really quick? Aw man, if that doesn't get you hyped for one of the most important episodes of the series, I don't know what will. Phenomenal action, high stakes, one of the best songs in the show. Need I say more? It's Jailbreak. It's great the first time around and gets even better with the repeat viewing. I love that last minute and a half not having dialogue. It allows for the moment prior to sink in and is a great example of show don't tell. It has the whole crew and everyone gets a chance to shine. The first 3/4 are nearly perfect. It is more than worthy of that extra time. Learning the history that it accomplished and what went into making this allows me to appreciate it even more. It's time for number 1. If you've watched the series before, you probably know what it is. Now, any individual fan can have their own personal favorite for a variety of reasons, and this may not be your favorite episode, but I think it's probably in the top 5, or at least in the top 5 in a lot of fans' eyes. Well then, hey, shake a leg.
Hey, shake a leg!
It's Mr. Greg!
Every time I watch this, I'm amazed it exists. This is as perfect of an episode that you are ever going to get. There aren't too many jokes, but they all land. There isn't a wasted second on screen, and it never feels too fast or too slow. The characters are great, as these are arguably 3 out of the 4 best characters on the show. For as much criticism as there is about Steven Universe's non-gem townie people, the Butlers are a delight to watch. I wanted to see more of them, and was hoping for a cameo at like the wedding or something. The setting is completely unique, the animation stands out, no other episode looks like this. I like how they didn't do that rich cliche of the characters acting like jerks once they got money, or blowing it all at once. It doesn't really need to be watched in a specific order either. It will dazzle you on the first viewing, and repeat watchers will likely know the songs, and might pick up on some things, like some slight diamond symbolism. There is not a throwaway song here. The storyboards on It's Over, Isn't It? Had to be redone because the voice actress gave such a powerful performance. You've likely heard it all before. There's no fight scene, no big reveal. You could argue it's a filler episode, but man is it a stellar one. It's simply one of the best episodes of any TV show I have seen, and I'm thankful it seems to be very appreciated. Well, almost. And there you go. There was some guy's list. Statistically speaking, I'm sure every fan out there would have a different personal order. It was fun to do this. I appreciated certain aspects more a second time around, and it's just always a nice reminder of how good Steven Universe is. I hope you enjoyed, and if you disagreed with everything I said, I hope you at least found it entertaining. I reviewed a cartoon, didn't swear, but I want to keep the comments section open. How do I make this more mature quickly? Here's a bunch of W2s.